Okay. All righty, we should be live now. Having a few technical difficulties, guys. It's interesting because I could see it on my screen. Happy Saturday. So can you guys let me know? We had a couple of technical difficulties at the beginning. So can you please confirm in the chat that you are able to see and hear Khadijah and myself right now? So it looks like the stream has started. It is working. Yay. Thank you, Patrick. Patrick has confirmed it's working. So Khadijah, you should be able to see it on your end as well. So I think it was just I didn't start the live stream over on YouTube. So you guys, we're streaming over from Zoom. So if you all have been doing any digital events, you know, it's like a journey to when you're trying to use multiple platforms. So I do have 2 screens going. So you may see me kind of look over to the side. That's because I'm looking over at my second screen. I am checking out you guys' comments and just seeing what you all have going on. So welcome, welcome, welcome to learn how to plan events like a pro. I am Angel Mills. I reside in Metro Atlanta in the United States. I know we have folks from all over the world today. So please in the comments, tell us your first name, where you're from, where you're hailing from in the US, or if you're from somewhere else, please let us know and tell us what events you have coming up that you are looking to plan in the future. So we want to make sure that this presentation is tailored for what you all have going on or coming up. So I'll first start by introducing myself. Again, I'm Angel. I am a brand strategist and digital marketer. I have, through my business, Angel Mills Brand Strategy, I work with small business owners. I help them through marketing services, coaching, and education and classes. In addition to that, here in Metro Atlanta, I run a meetup group called Atlanta Business Strategy. And with that group, we actually meet on a monthly basis and we have different speakers come in. We also network and we just talk about some of the nitty-gritty items that come up with entrepreneurs. And because we are all quarantined all over the world right now, we of course had to transition a lot of our content online. So Khadijah and I were originally supposed to do this presentation in person in Atlanta, I think back in November. Was the original date, but we had to reschedule it a couple of times. So we rescheduled to April and it just so happens, again, we weren't able to have it in person, but we were able to switch it online. So that's the beautiful thing about the internet. So we were able to open this great conversation up to folks from all over. Most of you probably found this event from Eventbrite. So we are so glad to have you here. I am going to shout out a few people. So we have Anne from Boston. We have Patrick from Quebec City, Canada. We have Jameli, I think that's your name. You're from Canada. We have Jasmine from Berkeley, California. Amen. He wants to hold community seminars and conferences. Celia, all the way from Finland. Well, you're a tourism student, so you might be, okay, no, you're in Finland. You're studying tourism. Megan from Atlanta. And she is hosting a couple massage workshop. Ooh, that sounds awesome. April from Houston. We have Lentoria from West Palm Beach, Florida, currently living in Atlanta, yay. And she is working for Comcast. We have Brianna. She is a conference center coordinator. And she's looking to start her own event planning business. So that's awesome. Khadijah can definitely mention that. And I'll go ahead and give it over to Khadijah. She can introduce herself, tell you a little bit more about what she does, what she's going to do today in her presentation. And also, so kind of the lay of the land is I'll go ahead and give the reins over to Khadijah. She'll shout a few more of you out. She'll talk to you about her business herself. And she's going to go through a presentation. And then after that, we're going to do some Q&A. So what we'll do is if you have questions while she's talking, go ahead and drop them in the chat box. as you guys already are. You're being super active in the comments, which is so helpful. So we'll come back at the end to answer some of those questions. We'll do a Q&A, and I'll come back on as well during that time. We're also going to do a giveaway. We're going to do 2 giveaways. Khadijah and I are going to give 2 free 30-minute consultation sessions. So one 30-minute, the winner will get 2 consultations. So the first 30-minute consultation will be with Khadijah, and she will talk to you about whatever upcoming event you have. She'll help you kind of go over your event plan and just give you some tips to refine it and make sure it's super successful. And then after that, you'll schedule a 30-minute consultation with me, and I will help you to put that event on Eventbrite. Or if that's not the platform you want to use, we'll talk about whatever promotional platforms you may want to use and kind of some best practices for promoting your event, whether it be online or in person. So we're going to give 2 of those away. We'll talk about what you need to do to enter into those. So stay tuned to the end, you guys, because you're going to want to get these consultations. They're going to be really good. And I will go ahead and give it over to Khadijah. So Khadijah, I think I can switch to speaker view so folks can just see you. And you can also share your screen whenever you are ready. So thank you so much, Khadijah, for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me, Angel. Thanks everyone for logging on and participating with this event. As Angel said, this has been an event that's been in the making for a while, long time coming. So I'm excited that I'm finally get to share this information and content with you today. I am Khadijah Nurridin, the owner of the Passion Palette Events and Marketing Agency, where I strive to work with small business owners who do not have a marketing department to become their marketing liaison for all marketing and event planning needs. I also do specialty events like weddings, showers, dinner parties, and anything really that a client comes to me with a good budget for. So that's a little bit about me. One fun fact is I'm also a blogger. So when I'm not working on my business, I'm still producing content for my blog. And I just want to do a little shout outs from our live streaming. I see we have Julie from San Diego. Shout outs to San Diego. We have Vanessa from Puerto Rico living in Miami. All right. We have Obi and Kate from Dubai. They have their own training center. Cool. Okay, so we are going to get straight into the presentation. I am going to share my screen here with you. And give me 1 second. Is everyone able to see my presentation screen? There we go. All right, okay, so this is event planning like a pro. Again, I am Khadijah Nurridin. If you would like to follow me, please follow me on Instagram at The Passion Palette, and on Facebook and LinkedIn. You can research my business page at The Passion Palette Events and Marketing LLC. And also you can contact me via email at passionpaletteevents@gmail.com. So today we're learning about how to plan events like a pro. The first thing you need to do to be an event planner or to put on the event planning hat is to have the mindset and attitude of an event planner. And one thing I like to say to myself every time I am putting on that role or that hat to be an event planner, planning my own events, planning events for clients, is that I have to have a can-do attitude with a make it happen mindset. My goal for every event that I'm working on, whether it be for myself or for a client, is to make it happen. Whatever the vision is, whatever the goals is, my mindset is to make it happen through any means necessary. So some great practices that you could do to get in the mindset and attitude of being an event planner or being the best event planner you can be is ask a lot of questions. There's never a dumb question. You can never ask too many questions. One thing that I like to practice with my clients is having them ask me 2 questions after every conversation. And I try to, in return, ask them 3 questions after every conversation we have, just to clarify things and to make sure that we're both on the same page, and to make sure that we are discussing the topics that actually needs to be discussed in order to get the event done. Also, as an event planner, you have to be ready to negotiate everything. No matter if it's the time for having a conference call or a meeting with your client or a vendor or a partner or a sponsor, or if it's negotiating contracts, be ready to negotiate everything so that you get what you want and need for your event. Also, don't be afraid to take on a challenge. And this is something that over the past 4 years, I have battled with a lot, because sometimes I like to go for the more easier route out of things. But when it comes to event planning, when it comes to putting together any type of event or networking tool, being able to accept a challenge and take a challenge on head first will surprise you as to what you can do and the limits, the limitless that you have with your own creativity or the team around you. So first things first, when you're getting ready to start planning an event, if you're thinking about an event, you want to hire an event planner, or you want to host an event yourself, you need to know the needs and the cause for your event. Is it a social event? Is it a fundraising event? Is it a charitable event? What is the need or the cause for your event? Then you need to think about, where will the event take place? You don't have to know the exact location as far as like a venue, but you need to know, if you live in Georgia, do you want to have your event in Atlanta? Is this something that could be outside of Atlanta? Does it need to be in a major city? Can it be out somewhere that has a further drive for your participants? You need to know where you want this event to take place, as well as when you want the event to take place. What time of day, what time of year, what month of the calendar month. Is this something that you want to do once a year? Is this something that you want to go on monthly? Is this a series that you want to start? So when and where you want your event to take place. You also need to think about the number of expected guests. How many people do you attend your event? Is it going to be an open call event where I can sign up on Eventbrite or on your website and anyone can come and it's free? Is it a ticketed event? Is it an invitation only private event? So you need to know what number you are expecting for participation and guests. And the most important thing is an event budget. No matter if you say, oh, I don't really have any money, so I'm trying to plan this event at the lowest cost possible, you need to put a number to the lowest cost possible for you. It takes money to host an event, to plan an event. So you need to know your number. Even if it's $50, you say, I want to have a mixer with 7 to 10 people. I'm going to host it in my home. But how much money are you willing to put into that event to make that event a success? If it's $50, it's $50. You then know what your budget is and what you have to work with within the means of how you want your event to be successful. And the last thing you should think about when starting to plan for your event is potential partners. I always say, three is better than one. And where you may be the event planner, you may be the host, you may be the brains behind the operation, you need help. Never try to do an event by yourself. So partnering and collaborating with other businesses, sponsors, friends, or other people in your industry, or other like-minded individuals that you have met is always a great idea, because where you are the host and the brains and the manpower, I would say I'm sorry, the brains behind the event, you need help. And there may be areas that you are weak in that potential partners are strong in. So do not be afraid to partner with others to make sure that you have a successful event. Okay, so now that you have the basics of when, where, and why your event is happening, you need to create a checklist. This is the most important thing I can think of when it comes to event planning. You need to have a checklist. Your checklist should include a timeline. You need to have a timeline on if you're planning 6 months out. From that 6 months to the day of the event, and sometimes the day after. What tasks and activities have to take place for you in order for you to plan a successful event? You need to have a task list within that timeline to list all of the tasks that need to take place in order for your event to be successful, and when those tasks needs to be completed by. And then also you need to incorporate manpower. Yes, you are the event planner and you are the brains behind the event, but you need help. So you need to arrange to have the manpower behind the scenes to help you accomplish each of your tasks and on time. So one thing that I would definitely recommend when it comes to creating a checklist, you can create an Excel spreadsheet to manage to create and manage your checklist for your event. You can also use Google Drive or a resource system like Monday.com or Smartsheets or any project management based software. This way, it will help you with managing your task list to say what was done, when it was completed, and by whom. And if you are managing a large team, some resources like Monday.com and Smartsheets allows your team members to log in and see the timeline for the event and know what tasks they are assigned to. So it's just an easier tool for you to use as the manager or the planner behind the scenes to make sure that everyone is getting the tasks done and completed that needs to be completed, and in a timely manner. It's also very important that once you set your timeline and your checklist, you stick to it, because time is of the essence when it's planning the event. I always say it's never too early to start planning an event. If you know there's something that you want to do in 2022, now is a perfect time to start planning it. No matter if your planning starts with just doing some simple research on how you want to execute it, or identifying what your cause and your need is never too early to start planning. And make sure that once you start your planning phases, you have a checklist and a timeline that will get you from the start to the finish of your event. Now I want to talk a little bit about securing the right venue. When it comes to planning an event that people are going to attend, a physical face-to-face event, kind of unlike this online webinar that we're doing today, or a live streaming event, when it's a physical event that people have to go to, you want to make sure you have the right venue, because the wrong venue can really change the scope or the overall goal of your event. If the venue's not right, the venue has to be accommodating. So when you're looking to secure your venue for your event, you want to keep in mind location, parking, the capacity and space, the amenities that the venue has, the accessibility of the venue, and the cost. There are a lot of venues, event planning venues, wedding receptions, just reception halls, venue spaces where you can host an event, have a conference, have a meeting, have a workshop, have a party. But you want to make sure that it all ties back to your target audience of who you are looking to attend this event. Excuse me. Does the parking situation fit the scope of the type of event that you're trying to have? If you're trying to have a networking event and you want 100 plus attendees and they have a parking lot, but it's shared with another business, or it's a small parking lot of 50 or less slots for parking, then it may not be the ideal venue for your networking event, because parking is going to be an issue. And I myself am a person who, if I'm going to an event and I get there and the parking is horrible, I will get frustrated and leave. So parking is a major thing when it comes to looking to book and reserve your venue, as well as amenities. The amenities is something that you want to take a look into before you sign any contract with a venues, because this is something that is going to help you as an event planner. Do you need tables, chairs, and linens for your event? Does the venue provide that? If they do not provide that, do they suggest rental services that do provide them? If they do provide the tables, chairs, and linens, is it included in the venue price, or are you paying an additional fee? Does the venue help set up and break down? Or do you have to have the manpower to set up and break down yourself? These are all things to consider when it comes to searching for your venue. One thing that I would suggest you do is put together a spreadsheet with a list of amenities that you need your venue to have. A list of what the must-haves are. It must have parking. It must have free parking. It must be within 285 or within a certain highway or within a certain mile radius. It must have an elevator, or it must be wheelchair accessible. Write down your must-haves for your venue before you start looking. And once you start looking, you can look at what the amenities, how they measure up to your must-haves, and make the appropriate decision for your event overall. Now, when it comes to event marketing, there is a lot of unique ways you can go about marketing your event. For example, this event here today, event planning like a pro. This was supposed to be a in-person event that was going to be held in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, but due to unforeseen circumstances such as coronavirus, we were able to turn this event into a live streaming webinar, and where we were maybe expecting maybe 30 to 45, 50 people at the most. We have this live streaming going on with almost 100 people logged on. So you want to be very versatile with your event marketing. So therefore, that way, if there's any foreseen circumstances, you can make the appropriate changes that you need to make so that the event still goes on. But one thing I have learned as an event planner, people like to see things, then read about it, and then engage or find out how they can participate in it. So I use this model with all of my event marketing, even when it comes down to weddings and birthday parties, all the way up to the corporate events. People want to see things. So social media, online marketing is a way for them to see it. Pretty pictures, nice visuals, highlights from past events, that anything like that you can use will help people see it. It will catch their eye, and then they'll want to read about it. So this is where your online advertisements turn into a email notification or newsletter or an invitation, and even highlighting some testimonials if it is an ongoing event or something that you've done in the past, sending out testimonials from past participants and guests about their experience. And then once they read about it, they're going to want to engage or find out how they can participate and join in what you have going on. Engagement can be anywhere from anything from, say, I see your event, I read about your event. It's not something that I think I would attend or need to be a part of, but I know like 3 friends. So I'm going to send your link to them, or I'm going to share with them what I found and read or saw about your event. As well as if I read it, see your event, read about your event, and I want to be a part of it, I want to participate, I want to be a partner, I want to be a guest, I want to buy a ticket, how can I join in? So my most popular event marketing tip is come up with a strategy that involves social media, highlights of past events and testimonials if necessary, as well as incentives for sharing. We live in a world of influencers. Use the influencers in your life to market your event. If it's a networking event that you're doing, get your networking friends, your business friends together and say, hey, I'm having this networking event. I want you to promote it. By you promoting it, you get in free, and you get a bar ticket, free drinks at the bar on me, first round on me. Some incentive that you can give them for sharing your event, because they have a large network and they're going to share with their network of people to see, read, and engage about your event. So use incentives for sharing for influencers that may be able to promote your event, as well as online ads. We live in a world today where you can spend $10 on an online ad on Facebook and reach over 10,000 people with that ad. So definitely look into using online advertisement as a way to market your event. Now, to make sure that your event is the talk of on everybody's mind, it stays like, I want to go to this person next event. This event was bomb. You have to add a wow factor. What is going to differentiate your event from any other event like it? So if you are a socialite and you go to different dinner parties and you attend different workshops and conferences, and now you've decided that you want to plan your own, what have you experienced at all the other events that you've been a part of that you can use to create something that is different, something that is outside of the box, something that is so memorable that they will be talking about it like it was halftime of the Super Bowl in 1999. Some things that you can do to add special touches to your event is finding a celebrity host or a really popular host, having a popular performance, or creating an ambiance that allows people to curate. Excuse me, I'm getting tongue-tied, but create an ambiance that people can't stop talking about. Give a gift, swag bags. I have been to some events and the swag bags were out of this world. I'm like, oh my God, I will continue to talk about this event because, like this phone case I got in my swag bag, this t-shirt I got in my swag bag. So swag bags are still a thing, especially when it comes to events and your more upscale profiled events. You also want to make a great first impression. Even as the event planner, you wear multiple hats. You are also the host and the greeter. So if you are advertising your event as an event that is tied to you, your name, your brand, your business, even if you have a designated host, some people, I would say 7 out of 10 people, are still coming to see you, to support you. So even if you only want to be behind the scenes, make your face be seen and go around and greet people as they enter your event, and then slide back behind the scenes. Or if you are up for the challenge of being the event planner and the event host, make sure you have a bubbly attitude and a great personality, a very engaging and inviting personality, so that they will remember your face and remember how they felt when they met you at your event. That alone is a simple wow factor that every event planner should look to incorporate in their event, as well as keeping in touch. People like to feel special. Make them feel special. If you exchange business cards or contact information with someone at your event, make sure you follow up with them and invite to keep in touch with them after the event. And one great example of that is the relationship I have with Angel. Angel was actually having a marketing series where she was going around to different venues in Atlanta having a marketing workshop. I found her workshop on Eventbrite, and I went to one of her workshops. And from after her presentation, of course, you mingled around. We didn't really get to talk long at the end of her event, but we exchanged contact information. And I remember it wasn't even a week after her event, she, reached out to me and was like, "Hey, it was nice meeting you. Thank you for coming to my event. I wanted to see if you wanted to grab coffee one day." And we met up and had a coffee date, and we've established a great relationship out of that. So keeping in touch is a really great way to build a network for yourself if event planning is something that you are looking to, professionally have your own business or be a event planner for a professional company. And lastly, I want to tell you some common mistakes that you want to avoid, and it is failure. Failure, failure, failure. Failure to have enough help. Failure to have a checklist. Failure to get things in writing, and failure to plan ahead. Like I said before, it's never too early to start planning your event. If you are not even engaged and you want to start planning your wedding, I feel like it's perfectly fine. It's never too early to start planning an event. But with planning an event and working with vendors and partners and getting sponsors, you want to make sure you get everything in writing. You don't want to take people for their word, no matter if they're your family member, your best friend, your childhood friend that you've known since you guys were 3 years old, a colleague that you respect. Make sure you get everything in writing. Have everything in writing so that you can ensure that all your ducks are in a row for your event. A checklist. Do not start planning an event without a checklist. Now, I'm telling you, it is a great organization tool to keep you on top of what you need to get done and being able to manage a team to help you get done. And when I say a team, you need a team. Do not try to do everything yourself as an event planner. The best event planner knows that they need help and how much help they need. In the first 3 weddings that I did, I thought that I was like Superwoman and like I knew what I was doing and I could do it all myself. So I was planning and coordinating weddings of 100+ guests with only 2 coordinating assistants. And so all day, 12 hours straight, me and these 2 other people are like running ourselves ragged to the next day after the event. I'm like sore to the point where I'm not able to move. and I'm so exhausted that I'm not able to like pick up and move on to the next thing. You do not want to wear and tear yourself out that way. So make sure you have enough help to fully execute your event. And that is the end of my presentation. I really hope you all have learned something. I have sparked some type of interest. I have sparked some ideas and been the inspiration for you to get on track to planning your event. So I am at this time going to turn it back over to Angel.
Okay, I think can you stop your screen share?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm gonna switch this to gallery view, and they should be able to see both of us in a couple of seconds. I know there's always a little bit of a delay since we're live streaming, but that was awesome. And to kind of piggyback off of what Khadijah said earlier, how we met, I did meet her at one of my workshops that I planned. And when we had coffee, I actually had an event coming up. And sorry guys, I was just looking at the screen over here to make sure you all could see us. So I actually had some events I was working on at the time. And I remember just asking her so many questions. What do you suggest? How should I do this? How should I do that? And she was giving me so many awesome tips and ideas of things that I hadn't even thought about. Like something I remember you told me that time was like, if I have a larger event, providing a Uber code, like an Uber discount code for people if there is less parking, so those are different things you can think of as well. So I did get a chance to go through all of your wonderful comments. And I think some things were around marketing, so I can definitely tap into some of the marketing questions that you all had. And some of you also said that, where you are in the world, it's like super late at night or super early in the morning. Here in the US, is around like 2:40 p.m. Eastern. So that's awesome that you guys are staying up so late to join us. That's so amazing. We're so happy to have you here. So the first question I saw was from Jada, and she asked, how do you decide what vendors to use when planning an event? And so this is around flowers, food, decor, etc.
So for me right now, I have a preferred vendor list. And if you're getting started with event planning and it's something you want to do ongoing, I highly suggest that you start to build a preferred vendor list. But I went off of word of mouth, talking to friends in the industry that I know that plan events and asking them like, okay, this is the type of event that I'm having. This is what I'm looking for. Can you recommend someone? And once I work with the person, I like to keep the relationship going if I like the service and they like my service as well. And that's how I was able to build my preferred vendor list, where I have about 2 to 3 vendors for each thing, as far as catering, bartending, decorating, some venues, DJs, people that do entertainment, hosting, and things like that. So I have a couple that I can alternate out depending on the type of event I'm planning. But I would definitely say utilize your contacts, network, and word of mouth is the best way to go about on a service based, I would say, referral. And then you make a decision at the end. Is this someone that you can work with? Is it someone that you want to work with again? Or this, if you want to continue to look for more people.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I did update the description for the video. So I added some resources of some previous videos that I've done. After the live stream, I'll have Khadijah send me some things and I'll add that as well. So there is a section in the description that's a bit of this video now that kind of talks about some marketing resources. So these are resources around ways to market your events, because I noticed there were a lot of questions around that. So we will get to that question and I'll jump in there too. But the event planning is definitely Khadijah's lane. So next question, how far in advance do you have clients come to you for the events? And just keeping in mind, there are a lot of folks in this chat who are event planners, emerging event planners, wannabe event planners. So I think this question is kind of coming from that place.
Yes. So like I said several times, there's never too early to start planning for an event. So the
Plan
earlier
your wedding before you're engaged. That was your advice.
plan your wedding before
Before ready.
um, but I would definitely say it depends on what type of event it is. So that's why like I like to do a event consultation with a client just to see what are they thinking about having included in this event. Is it a large event? Is it a small event? What's the budget for the event? And that is where I evaluate if I have enough time to execute exactly it is what they want. And I was at a point in my career as the event planner, I've been doing this for 4 years, where in the beginning I was just trying to take every client that came to me because I wanted the experience, I needed the money. But then I started to see where, that wasn't always the best decision for me as a business owner. So now I really evaluate how much time do I have, what's your budget, and what is the objectives and end goal for this event, and can I execute it? Can I put together a team to execute it? So for example, weddings, I need at least 18 months. I need at least 18 months for a wedding. Anything after 12 months, if I do decide to take it on, I'm going to charge more because it's more work that I have to do. When it comes to social events, I would say like a business launch, because I started working with businesses. I need 6 months and I need a budget. I need a defined budget and 6 months of planning a lunch party or anything that has to do with your business, a grand opening, a grand reopening, a major sale, business event. Networking events, I feel like they're the easiest to put together, but you still need time to do certain things, especially when it's working with contracts, getting sponsors, and getting partners. So that's something that I also say you need about 6 months of planning or more. But if that is your niche, if that is your area of expertise, you may be a person that can put something together in 3 months or less. So it really depends on you and your area of expertise and your niche.
Yeah, someone asked, I think it was Linda. Yeah, Linda asked, what if someone comes to you 2 weeks before their wedding? But you do day of coordination, right?
Yes, I do day of coordination for weddings, and also not just weddings, any event. If you are planning your own event and you just want to enjoy the event and not work the event, it is okay to hire a day of coordinator to execute your event the day of. But even for those types of services, for social events, I need to start working with the client 30 days out. For weddings, I need to start working with the clients 90 days out. If you come to me 2 weeks before an event, I'm probably going to just say I'm not available on that date. Because I don't want the headache. But like I said, in the beginning, I was grabbing for those things because I wanted the experience.
Yeah. But it comes to bite you later for sure. As far as there was a question, Samira asked around documentation and kind of your process. And someone else, Kimberly, also asked about contracts. So do you have your own contracts? I would assume you do. How do you, I guess a little overview of your process for contracts and just how do you handle documentation?
So I started off using my own, like just Google Drive with saving things. I did pay someone, a legal consultant to help me put together my service contract, just so that I can make sure if ever needed, my contract does uphold in court. Or protects me as a business owner. So if you don't have a contract, I will suggest you can pay people to help you put those together. There's even some services online like LegalZoom where you can purchase a template and customize it to your business. So for every client, I do have them sign on a contract with me. And then some clients, when I'm working with businesses, they require me to sign like a non-disclosure with them on their end so that, you know, their business elements are protected as well, which I do not mind doing because I want to work with businesses and I know that comes with the territory. With signing with vendors, when it comes to even social events and weddings and even working with professional clients, the vendor contracts are signed through the client. So if I am having I'm in wedding season right now, wedding mode. So I keep referring to wedding examples.
Yeah.
For a wedding, if I am signing a contract with a caterer, the couple actually completes that contract. I manage to execute the contract to make sure that on our end, we are doing everything within the terms of that contract and making sure that the service provider is doing the same.
Okay.
The client is the one that actually signs the contract. And if you use LegalZoom, they have templates that you can just purchase and customize when it comes to service contracts, when it comes to like video release forms. They have a whole lot of different contract templates that you can use and customize to your business.
Okay. Awesome. So also folks want to know, so do you use a templated contract when you, like, do you kind of just have a base contract that you use for most of your clients?
So I have a base contract that I have with all my terms and services. The only, I have two different ones, one for weddings and then one for social and more professional events. Weddings, you have a lot more detail that go into what your services provide, like what's included and what's not included. The social and professional contract is a little bit more streamlined, but I do have a template for both. And so for any one-off situations where I'm amending something or adding something I usually wouldn't add, or providing something that I usually wouldn't provide, there is space for me to add that in there. So it is in writing with my client.
Awesome. So after an event, and this is so funny because we had a conversation about this yesterday, but Ronnie wants to know, how do you kind of debrief? I'm assuming this is someone with the client about kind of how the event went. You know, how does your process work for that? And we can also talk about, like, if you're doing your own event, you have attendees, like how you kind of assess their experience.
Yes. So if I have a client, I like to put in my timeline, my checklist, a recap meeting. And depending on what type of event it is, it may be immediately the day after, or I might wait a week, you know, let things die down, you know, get back on in a groove of things. And we have a recap meeting. And one thing I like to do just as an event planner is write down my lessons learned as we're going through the event planning practice. So like, as we may set a plan and something goes wrong with that plan, you have to make adjustments, you have to do things in a different manner of what you thought before. I like to jot those things down in advance. And even if the client does not know about it at that time, during that recap, you know, that's when I share those experiences. Like, oh, I had trouble with the caterer. They were trying to say X, Y, and Z, but I know that you wanted this, and I know that our contract said this. So these are the steps that I took. I like two-way feedback because most of my clients are kind of ongoing. Like, I work with them for multiple things. I have people where I planned their wedding and their bridal shower, and then they came back and did their baby shower, then they came back and did the baby party. So I like ongoing feedback, like two-way feedback. Tell me what it is that you need from me. Tell me if I'm not, you know, fulfilling all of your desires and wants. When it comes to my own events that I host for myself and my brand, I like to do surveys, feedback surveys that are sent out through email. Any business owner loves reviews and testimonials. So getting those reviews on Yelp, my website, on Facebook or Instagram. And also I like to be tagged and, you know, stuff to say, oh my God, thank you so much, or I just participated or attended this event and I learned X, Y, and Z, and this happened. Share your experience with others, because then it's going to create a hype for people to want to join in.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there was some questions around getting a copy of the presentation. So there will be a replay. This video will live on YouTube on my channel. She is Angel Mills. I'll also send the link out to all who register. So you will also kind of get a reminder, but it'll be the same place. So if you want to come back, if there's anything you missed, you can definitely do that. I would really, again, encourage you to check out the description. I put some updates in there with some different things. And this kind of relates to the next question, which was, what are some of the most used marketing channels for your business? So this wasn't so much for events per se, but for your business in general. So we'll touch on that. But if you are looking to do some specific event promotion, I put some videos in the link, or excuse me, in the description box that kind of have some video content that talk about how to maximize Eventbrite, how to grow your contact list using free events. So that's something that's discussed there. So again, from Celia, our question is, also, let me go back. Somebody said we were beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Okay.
Tired, but thank you.
So yeah, so what are the marketing channels most used in your business? And then some people asked about event planning tools. So kind of what apps or software, whatever that you use to kind of keep track of everything.
Okay. Some marketing tool or marketing most used platform for me, it is LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram.
Okay.
Recently, I've become a master at Eventbrite after taking Angel Mills masterclass on Eventbrite.
Which I did link in the description, you guys. It's free.
It's very informative. I learned a lot. Eventbrite could do all of that.
Yeah.
And MailChimp with creating landing pages and scheduling newsletters, especially if you are planning an event, a big event that's going to reach a lot of people, and it is months out, and you want to start putting a buzz into people's ear about it. MailChimp is a great tool to use. Yeah. And then for me, as far as like event planning resources that I use, Google Suites is my best friend. That's my personal assistant.
Google girl.
Google. I have, since I've been doing this for a while, I have everything kind of set up in a folder with templates. So like when I'm starting a new event, I already have a checklist timeline template that I'm just, copying and adding in the specifics to go to that event. Like I said, my contracts are saved there. Photos and videos are easily housed there without taking up too much storage on my phone and computer. I also like to use Monday.com when I'm working with a team, because it's a project management tool, but it allows me to set my plan up and then have people log in and to see what their tasks are, when it's due, and they can update it there. And so if I need an update from my team member, I can just call or text them and say, hey, can you put in your updates for X, Y, and Z on Monday.com so the team can see it. And it also gives everyone a wide view of, okay, I'm working on this, she's working on that, he's working on this. And it kind of
the progress.
Yeah, the progress and the bigger picture of how what you're doing is affecting the overall goal of the event.
And Asana is a great tool for that as well. Asana as well. And so let's go. So we talked about we talked about tools, how you promote your business. Folks had some questions around sponsorship, and even you could discuss kind of getting an influencer or a celebrity to come to your event. Like, what are some of your tips on kind of the sponsorship piece, as well as having some of these more special guests or hosts or things like that?
I am new to the world of getting sponsorships. I'm actually working on a major event right now where
I'm learning it too.
I just completed a sponsorship deck, and we're trying to get corporate sponsors.
Right.
The thing I've learned is the first time you ask, you might get told no. but find a different way to ask again.
Mhm.
So I'll give an example of an event that I'm doing. I'm trying to get a water sponsor. So I reached out to Essential, the water brand, and they told me that they cannot provide. We wanted product for the event. They cannot provide product for this event in 2020. So I came back and said, thank you so much. I understand you cannot provide product for 2020, but we're also starting to look into our corporate sponsors for 2021. So how can we get you to sponsor us in 2021? Now, I don't know if the client is going to have this same event in
Right.
2021, but if I can land them this sponsorship, it may encourage them to have the event again,
Do it
or
again.
develop that relationship for them in the next calendar year. So that is one thing that I just, like a lesson I just learned this week.
Yeah.
I'm
Fresh.
putting together an appealing sponsorship deck. It is good to have like a one sheet that's maybe on letterhead that gives all the specifics, but also maybe a 5 to 7 page slide or presentation that gives all the details and creates a message of a win-to-win value. What is the company, what is the sponsor going to get out of being a sponsor? What are they, what are you providing,
Right.
and what are they gaining?
Yeah, I'm not an expert in the sponsorship area either. I'm still kind of grasping that and learning more about it, but I have taken some trainings and things on it. And one of the things that they mentioned is, to Khadijah's point, having like a reoccurring event is very attractive, because when you're offering sponsorship packages, you can offer them to sponsor multiple years. Or if it's an event you have monthly, you can offer them an opportunity to be an annual sponsor or something like that. That's super appealing. And then I was also told to ask for higher amounts of money if you're going in the corporate direction. So I don't think you should ask. I believe it's like, don't ask for less than 5K. Like that should be, your minimal package, and just kind of go up from there. And then you can also provide more value if this is a reoccurring event. So I've considered partnership for example, the meetup group that I mentioned earlier, Atlanta Business Strategy, because we meet up every month. That's 12 events that if I'm signing on a sponsor, they would get visibility, in addition to email and social media visibility and things like that as well. So you can also think from the perspective of like, what can you offer? And highlight that in the sponsorship deck. On Canva, if folks are familiar, canva.com, canva.com, they have some pitch deck templates on there now that you can use. So I don't know how you created your deck, Khadijah, but there's some pitch deck examples there that you can kind of use as a template to guide and help with your design to make it look really, cool and nice. I'm not sure if you have any tips on like where you can find good templates.
When you said Canva, I did use Canva to put together
my
presentation today. But there, if you look on Pinterest and Etsy, there's also some templates and packets that you can.
Pinterest and Etsy.
Because I'm working on an ebook and I just got a ebook template that I can like upload into Canva and edit myself, and
right.
I paid like $9 for it instead of hiring a graphic artist to do it for me.
Creative Market also has those same types of items as well, and they have packages. So I've looked at them too for like ebook templates and things like that. And then you can get like 40 templates for $25 or something. But then you have all of those different templates. They're typically Canva templates. And again, you can open those up, to Khadijah's point, in Canva.
And you can customize them. You can use the same template like 50 different ways if you
Absolutely. Because by the time you put your own touch on it, you won't even recognize it from the original template oftentimes.
Right.
So again, we have a lot of event planners or aspiring event planners in the house. What are some of your tips, Khadijah, for building a business and kind of getting your name out there? Ivana asked that. There were some other folks who kind of asked similar questions. Kevin was curious about that as well. So how do you get started?
So this is interesting because I feel as though I'm still like knee deep in getting started. I started event planning 4 years ago as a side hustle, and
Okay.
last year, in February, is when I started my business. I love your mug. Last February is when I started my business, and actually May 15th will be me 1 year out of corporate America and middle. Newer. So one
Girl.
thing that I would say has helped me and I have seen a lot of growth in is collaborations and bartering. If you're
Ooh, yes.
trying to start a business, figure out how you can barter with people. I have people, and it started off with people coming to me wanting to barter with me, like, hey, I'm having this event. I need day of coordinating services. I can offer you a photo shoot. I can offer you, product. So a lot of stuff I've done in the past year has been in exchange for a service or an item that, I'm not getting paid for, but I'm getting exposure. I'm building relationships, and
Right.
I'm networking. I'm meeting people. As an event planner, one thing that we were talking about actually earlier was styled photo shoots. I did not know the power of styled photo shoots until I attended my first one. I've done 2 so far, and I'm a part of this organization called Style to Party, where it is a group of photographers, videographers, event designers, florals, event planners. We come together and put together a mock event, and the photographers buy into it, and they take pictures. You might have like 8 to 12 different photographers, videographers, and everybody shoots differently, everybody edits differently. So you have 8 different people who are capturing your design, or getting your vision, capturing your vision. And
Right.
the thing about style shoots is you have a tag list, you have a shot list. So every time I post a picture of my design from this event, I have to tag the models, the photographer, the videographer.
That's kind of the bartering piece of
Yeah,
it.
that's the bartering piece of. So there's like, there may be 50 people involved in one style shoot. So that's 50 people who is also promoting my business for me as I am them. And, everybody has different levels of reach or engagement within their business. So you're getting your business in front of so many other people. And I can say out of the first style shoot I did, I spent about $50 on just gathering stuff. It was a picnic in a park, and I set up designed a set for it. I did like a tea party, bohemian themed tea party set, and I used like stuff I had at home and stuff that I found at Goodwill. And just from that one shoot, I booked 2 events.
Wow. Okay. So that's a great tip. So those are called styled photo shoots. So they're kind of like giving a taste for kind of what an event decor or look or feel
Yeah.
would be visually, but these are like mock events.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of thing.
I've done a mock wedding. Really fun. A mock
wedding, I bet.
From the ceremony, the get ready, the reception, all of it was mock. And then we did a mock dinner in the park where there was like 5 different event planners, and we all set up a set. So somebody did like an intimate one for 2 people, somebody did a group. So we all had different themes, but it was all like dinner in the park.
Okay, that's an awesome idea. And that's a great way to just partner with other planners, share best practices, share tips, because everyone oftentimes has different. I think sometimes you think about like competition and things like that. Because even you and I don't do event planning, but we do some of the same things. We both do some marketing things. And a lot of times people think, oh, it's competition and I can't help this person, but everybody kind of does things in their own way. They have their own niche of clientele that they are working with. So there's a lot of opportunities for partnership. And I think that's an awesome idea with the mock events. So let's go on to the next question, you guys. So I thought this was a good question from Katie. She asked, should we aim to secure venues that have everything we need? So the right parking, the chairs, the food, like kind of one-stop shop. Because a lot of times, as you know, I would imagine with weddings, there's people, there's the food vendors, there's this vendor, there's chairs, a lot of venues don't come with everything.
Mm-hmm. So when I said before you make your list of your must-haves, you can also mark in within your must-haves what's negotiable. If
Okay.
it's a perfect location, they have parking, it's accessible, but they don't provide tables, chairs, and linens, are you okay with, is that a negotiable? Are you okay with providing your own tables, chairs, and linens if they have the manpower of people to help you set it up and break it down? So you have to figure out what's your non-negotiables versus what's your negotiables, and what you will accept and what you absolutely will not accept. I don't feel like there is a perfect venue.
Right.
So it's always what you need in your head, and then you look at maybe, I'll say, 5 to 7 different venues and how they measure up to what you want, and go with the best possible solution for yourself, your team, and your client, and then work around the other stuff.
Right. That completely makes sense. And I think, well, I'll wait to get into that next piece I was going to say. So there was a question around, Linda asked a really good question around insurance. So what are some of your thoughts about insurance? Does the venue provide that, or kind of how does that piece work?
So most of the time, the venue has to have some element of insurance on your venue, on your event. Like if you're serving alcohol, security measures that have to be provided into them. Now, there are some venues that are just like those, I call them mom and pop venues, that only provide you a space, and they let you know that they're not responsible for anything. That you need to look into some type of event insurance. And there is some event insurance if you have a business. This is one thing I've been looking into, doing my research with what company I actually want to go into, is getting just overall extra line of event insurance to cover my business. So any client or any event that I do under the Passion Palette will be under my event policy. They don't seem to be too expensive here in the United States, in the southern region of the United States, but I can imagine different parts of the world, insurance can be a little pricey. So I would say, if you don't have business insurance, or you're not insured for yourself to protect your business, make sure that the venue and the vendors you are signing into have some type of insurance, or some type of, I would say, guarantee plan in case things go wrong. Because I've been in situations where on the day of, a caterer didn't show up because he forgot and was on vacation out of town.
No.
But you got all my money.
No, please, no.
So things like that, you need insurance.
They didn't forget, and I don't believe they forgot. But
don't let me go there.
Somebody gets injured, and I know for companies, when I was in corporate, we when we had especially large events, because sometimes people get hurt, things like that, we would, as a business. So if you're working under a company, some of you said in the comments that you were, they probably do have some sort of insurance that would extend to whatever events and things they are having. Now, questions about the money. Y'all got questions about money. So we talked a little bit about contracts. People want to know about, like you mentioned, negotiating with vendors. Everything is a negotiation. Kind of what's some of your best practices for negotiating prices, just working out deals. I'm sure when you're doing weddings, people want to try to, save money any place that they can. So kind of what are some of your tips, or if you have any resources where people can get more information about that?
So one of my tips that I like to do, and it's a little unethical, some people may call it.
Uh-oh.
I start off with my budget is less than what it actually is. So
Okay.
it's lying, but for a good reason. So I start off maybe depending on what the budget is. If I'm doing a social event, I have $1,000 to spend on a venue. I'll say I only have 800. And I'll see what I can get for that 800. And
Right.
they might say, I can give you X, Y, and Z for 800, but you would have to pay extra for blase, blase. Like I can give you the space for 800, but you have to pay extra for the table and chair setup. So then I kind of get the space and the table and chair setup for under, for the $1,000 budget I had allotted, but
Right.
you does not know that. So you kind of have to be a little creative and crafty about how you approach the situation. I never go into a situation telling a vendor or a venue how much money I have to spend, an accurate number. I give them a range, or I lowball what I know I have. That's why I say when you are planning an event or working with a client, I need a number. People come to me and say, well, I'm trying to do this, but I don't want to spend a lot of money. How much are you willing to spend? How much do you have to put into it? I don't care if it's $50. Tell me I have $50 to work with. So when I go to, look for cases of water, I must see what I can get for this $50. I'm going to make 8/4 out of 4 some way.
Right. We gonna do it. And to your point, I think the venue is always going to try to upsell you.
Yes.
So but they might not upsell you to the full extent of whatever it is that you need would fully cost. So if you tell them you have $800, they might be like, okay, for $850, we can do this, this, and this. And so as to your point, you're already getting more than you would have if they were giving you like that full price. Because I think people are going to want to work with you for the most part, unless it's just like the prices are, completely, we're not even in the same wheelhouse about the price. If it's just $50 or $100, people can work with that.
And I will add that the saying is not what you know, is who you know.
Right.
Does help when it comes to pricing things and negotiations. So as an event planner, if you are a part of any associations or affiliated with any organizations, sometimes that gets you a discount. Like if your client or you is in the military, venues do offer military discounts. If you're working with a client that may be considered a senior citizen, getting a senior citizen discount. If you're a member of a sorority or fraternity and the owner of a venue, I don't typically like to ask for those, oh, I'm a member of this organization. I know you are too. Will you gonna give me a discount? But I like to throw it out there that, we have this in common. And if they are open and willing to, cut a deal, give a discount, or throw something else actual in, that's for them to offer me. But throw it out there that, we have the same alma mater. I noticed that you graduated X, Y, and Z, or we have this in common. And sometimes that is just enough to make it personal for them, where they want to give you the best experience possible. And, they may add in something or cut you a deal or give a percentage. I wouldn't suggest asking for that.
Right. That's in poor taste. That would definitely be in poor taste to overtly ask.
Yes. Yeah. But definitely put it out there, any common organizations or associations or any type of affiliations that you might have. So that would come with doing your research as well before negotiating.
Because you might look up that person's LinkedIn page or, stalk their Instagram. We know we all do that, you guys. Don't judge. A little bit. Sometimes we're going to meet someone new. So there was a few people, Tova and Carrie specifically, wanted to know about how do you price your services and kind of what information do you use to inform the decisions around what you think is a fair and appropriate price?
So one thing I do like to do in my service packages is put together a list of what that includes. And I break down like, day of coordinating, you get 12 hours of day of services, unlimited phone conference meeting. So like listing what your package includes. I just recently attended a webinar called Pricing is Personal, and it was geared toward service pricing for event planners. And I learned that I may be lowballing myself when it comes to my prices. So my prices are getting ready to change once I do an overall strategy. But one thing that I was learned in that webinar was you should look at the industry, the event planning industry, where you are in the world. What is the average price of a wedding, of a coordinator, of an event planner, if of a event consultant, of a venue manager? What's the average price? And then look at your direct competitors. So I consider my direct competitors to be, if I Google event planners in Atlanta, the top 5 that come up, those are my direct competitors, because somebody going to look for a event planner can hire them over me. And I look at their prices and I kind of look to see, are we aligned? Are they a lot higher? Am I a lot lower? How are we aligned? And I do say I will evaluate my prices every year. So every year my prices change. Some things surprisingly have went down over the years. Some things go up over the years. But you never want to just say this is $100 and it's $100 forever.
Right.
Things change.
And I think also for me, for pricing, and it's something that is always a learning process, especially as, Khadijah and I are emerging entrepreneurs. A lot of you are as well. It's kind of like, I don't advertise a lot of prices for things because, and I don't know if you do this too, like it kind of depends on what they're trying to do. Like certain situations, it may be a set price. There's other things you might have to like, let me think about how much time this is going to take,
Right.
how much effort this is going to take, and then give you a personalized quote based on what it is you're asking for. And then I was also coming to mind, since we have people in here from all over the world, I would imagine there's pricing difference on culture, like the culture around your wedding, different depending on my cultural background. I may require different things for my wedding, or a certain type of venue, something more unique that could influence pricing as well. And I don't know if you plan weddings with different type, where you had to accommodate different types of cultural practices or cultural like traditions and things like that, and if that affected your pricing or the service you were able to deliver.
Personally have not had that experience yet with different cultures, and that is actually one of my goals this year. I wanted to start doing more non-traditional weddings or different style weddings than just the traditional weddings that I grew up seeing.
Right.
So one thing, I was doing a Jewish wedding this year, but it actually got postponed due to coronavirus.
Oh.
But I was not the event planner. I know an event planner who is planning that wedding, and she needed to build a team of coordinators for a day of coordinating team. So I am working with her with that wedding. So I'm getting paid to be a day of coordinator. And I noticed in my contract between her and I that the rate for a coordinator on a Jewish wedding was a little bit more higher than what normal I'll say more traditional wedding was. And so when I inquired about that, she was like, oh girl, because there's a lot more that goes into
right.
a Jewish wedding. Like, we'll have a call to go over everything and what task you'll be responsible for the day of, but it's very active as far as behind the scenes go. So I'm still excited about the experience. It's supposed to be this May and actually has been postponed to next May, but I still get to experience that as a event planner, and I think that's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to hear about that for sure.
Yes.
And so we talked about a little bit about getting started. So we talked about keeping track of events. So how do you determine, so for folks who are planning a wedding, and I don't know, Dina, if you're planning a wedding, that's why you asked this question, but kind of how do you determine a budget for a wedding, for food specifically?
For food. So for things like for weddings, it's all about the number of people you intend to invite. The more people, the more money. And also it's based on location, where you are in the world and what's the the market for things. I would say for a wedding in the South right now, you can get a caterer that starts anywhere from $12 a plate up to $27, $30 a plate. Depends on the menu. So I always start off asking my clients, what do you have to spend? How much are you willing to spend? And then I break down an overall budget based, it's like a percentile of, based on, you said you had $10 to spend on your wedding. Okay, 20% of that 10,000 is going to go to your venue. Maybe 7% is going to go to your florals. You need 10% for your, and then they get to see what the dollar amount of that is. And then sometimes they like to say, okay, well, that's final. We got to make do with what we got to do. And some people's like, ooh, 5,000 on a caterer, that's not really a lot for 200 people. So let's increase it to, let's increase it to this. So sometimes it takes, and you can, the knots for when it comes to weddings, the knot.com and Wedding Wire are really good.
That's knot.com.
Yeah, knot.com. It's really good with breaking down the percentage of different aspects of a wedding.
Like your budget, your total budget. I was going to ask that because like what would be like the recommended percentage of your total amount to spend on food? Or
I have like a little template that I've created that I like to use to be able to tell people, because I start off with, what's your budget? I need to know your budget and your date. What's your budget? And then if I feel like, oh, okay, this is a budget that I can work with, that it works, then we can go on with, moving to the next phase of planning. But if it's a budget that I'm concerned about, that's where I like to break down the percentages and show the dollar value to say, with $10,000 and 2,200 guests, you have less than $3,000 to spend on food. What type of menu are you trying to, because this is going to get you the bare minimum, the basics, so it gives the client the perspective to start looking at and thinking about things that, as a, just as a non-planner, you don't consider. And then some people might come back and say, oh, my budget is extremely too low. We want to go X, Y, Z. Or, okay, well, I'm good with that. I'm fine with that. That's fine with me.
People don't know how much those things cost.
Right. People don't know.
If you don't never planned a large event before, you don't know even how much it costs to feed 100 people, really.
Yes.
So that totally makes sense.
Social media events make it look very easy and cheap to put together, but things cost.
Right, because everyone's on their DIY Pinterest stuff.
Yeah, and DIY
DIY everything.
You can DIY everything, and when it comes to events, it's like it still costs. Am I going to spend $50 to do it myself and stress myself out? Or do I just want to pay the 25% upcharge to have somebody do it for me and I don't have to worry about it? Right. So it all depends. It's all a dependable factor when it comes to budget and how much to spend on things.
Absolutely. And I know I don't always do a lot of food at events, but I've heard people are starting to do like taco trucks or just have like food trucks come into their wedding now and just like pay a price for the food truck. I know things like certain types of food stretch
Yeah.
So that's also a piece as well. So some folks want to know for people who are also interested in event planning and starting their businesses, what are some of your ways of getting new customers? So you mentioned some of your promotion, so Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. How do you get most of your customers now? Do they come via referral, social media campaigns?
Most of my clients now are referral or word of mouth networking. I tell this story often, but one of my, I call them one of my big clients right now is a professional client, and I do marketing and event planning services for this client. And I was doing a Google search of small business, small women-owned businesses in Atlanta, and I came across this business, and I thought it was the cutest thing ever, and I wanted to work with them. So I just went there one day and was like, "Can I talk to the owner?" I introduced myself. I did my research. I found out that we graduated from the same HBCU. So
The affiliation.
yes, the affiliation. So I introduced myself and, what I'm trying to do. And I just put it out there. And just so happened, she was starting a new project of opening a second location and needed more manpower. So that's how I joined her team. Um, so it's always about word of mouth. As a business owner, especially as you're starting, you don't want to put a bad taste in anyone's mouth. So, you always want to be pleasant. It does take a lot of networking. You want to network and you want to make sure that you're putting yourself out there. I haven't gotten to the point where, people are seeing my social media or seeing ads that I run and are like clinging to me, booking me. It's still more word of mouth and referrals. I've even had some like event planning friends that say like, "I'm not taking on this event. I don't want the headache, but I know you're really good at X, Y, and Z." So I gave them your contact information. And some people will get offended by somebody saying like, "Oh, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to just pass it to you." But your interest of the may be different, so something that is a headache for you is something that I actually love to do. So that has actually been a blessing to me in this whole first year of entrepreneurship for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And so some folks talked about like you said some of your clients are reoccurring. How do you kind of keep the lines of communication open with these clients so that they keep you in mind for any future events that they're having?
So I'm like the social media guru. So of course I want to follow them on social media and I want them to follow me back. And it start off with, engagement there. I might see that I wed a couple and then I definitely like to keep their anniversary date on my Google Calendar and send them like an e-card or a message that say happy anniversary. Every year I keep that on the calendar, say it is the Wiggins anniversary, tell them happy anniversary, and I do schedule those emails. If I see them on social media and they share that, "Oh, we're pregnant, we're having a baby now," I send my congrats and things like that.
If you need help.
I like to post the TBTs, like, TBT on X, Y, and Z's wedding day, and share behind the scenes stories of that way. So social media really keeps me connected. And then, of course, we still have each other's numbers. So that opens up that line of communication to like, "I need help with my baby shower." And are you available? Even sometimes, and what I do enjoy is when people invite me into their lives and they may not hire me to plan their baby shower or their birthday party, but they invite me in as a friend to come and be a part. And it's so cute to see. It's like I'm a lover girl. So it's like so cute to see, oh, real love.
Right. I saw you on your wedding day and now you guys are having a whole human.
I'm at their house for me. It's so nice.
Absolutely. And so someone had a question about renting an office Do you think that's necessary? Do you feel like you're able to kind of just handle most of, your business in your home office? How does that work for you?
So when you're starting off, I don't think that you per se need an office unless that's just like how your work style. I'm an on-the-go person, so I work from home, but I don't work at home. It might be in the business with them. I might be like actually at
Right.
the business.
Yeah.
I my work day might be at a coffee shop where I just, set up shop there for a day. If I'm doing a conference or something that it needs to be super professional, I do like to, like rent out a conference room or co-office space that I can use for the day. And I do think maybe if you want to get out the house and not work from home, maybe invest it in like having a co-office space that you can go to a couple days out of the week would help. But especially for event planning, I don't see the need of having like a designated office to go to. You can definitely create that within your home or just be an on-the-go person.
You can meet at whenever the world opens back up. You can definitely
when outside open back up for us, I can
go to a coffee shop.
Noble.
And until then, video chat, folks.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into the last few questions. And I'm looking here. I'm looking at the ones I wrote down earlier. So just I do see we have some new people who have joined us while we were conversing. Welcome, welcome. Just so you all know, you will be sent a replay link for this event. So you will, if you were unable to kind of join us in the beginning, you will get the replay. You will be able to see the presentation. Also check out the description box. I've updated it with some additional information about Khadijah and myself. I've also put some information in there about event marketing, just some tips and resources that you can look into. That'll probably be updated again because I'll add some things that Khadijah may want to share. And so go ahead and put your last few questions in here. And because we're at 3:35, you guys have so many questions. So go ahead and put your last few. We're going to do a quick kind of lightning round. So Wanda, where is Wanda? Wanda asked a question. So Wanda has a catering business. Wanda, you didn't say where your catering business was located. I would love to know. I believe she does soul food, and she kind of wants to know just some tips for working with event planners to kind of just have some, I guess, ongoing consistent clientele. Would it be appropriate for her to kind of connect with an event planner or a specific venue and build a relationship with them? Kind of what are your tips if you're on the service side of this?
I would say it all starts with the venue.
Okay.
Connecting with different venues, especially like for you being a caterer, if you connect with like maybe a couple of venues in your area that has a full kitchen, like a cater grade kitchen, and you work their events, or have them prefer you to their clients to say, if you don't have a caterer or if you're looking to a caterer, we have someone we can refer to you, or, we prefer that you use our in-house caterer. I mean, as an event planner, I've worked with some venues as a influencer for them, where for every 5 bookings that I get, that I make at their venue, they offer me a 2-hour event slot for free. And then also, if she has as someone who books her space and they don't have an event planner or a day of coordinator, she recommends that they use the in-house person, and the in-house person is one of her influencers. So it's definitely great to network with other venues or vendors within your industry. So within the event planning industry, connect with the event planner. I actually have a caterer friend who, he likes to cook and he likes to do the cooking things. He doesn't like the coordinating piece of it.
Okay.
So sometimes he hires me to come along with him on his big events so that I can be the runner back and forth, coordinating with when the food needs to be put out, setting up the presentation, breaking down, because he just wants to cook. So I do feel like there is a need for a coordinator in every element of that. And a good wedding correspondent, a good wedding coordinator will work that into their plan, but not all wedding planners do that. So sometimes, you know, you can differentiate yourself as a caterer, a florist, a photographer by having a go-to coordinator, or, you know, partnering with a coordinator, and y'all use each other, y'all barter each other's services. I work with a photographer as a coordinator for her weddings. Like when she's booked for a wedding, she likes to bring along a coordinator sometimes to help her on the back ends of stuff. So she's making sure that she's capturing everything that's on the couple shot list, and in return, she do branded photo shoots for me for free. So I get free professional photos.
Right. That's awesome. I gotta get on this bartering tip more.
Yes.
So
we barter.
different ways that you're talking about cross referrals and different ways that you can kind of build those relationships so that people are referring different vendors to place based on the relationships that they have with venues and coordinators and things like that. And Wanda did respond. So she said her restaurant is located in where she's residing. I don't know if you actually have a restaurant or you just do catering, but she's in Stone Mountain, Georgia. So for folks who are on the call in Georgia, which I think a lot of people are, check out Wanda. And so last couple, I think we're doing so good getting through these questions. I wanted to address one question. I saw someone asked about tips for creating free events for like nonprofits or new businesses. Someone also mentioned, and I think I may have wrote down her name, Wendy, also has a digital marketing business and she wants to get into events. And if you're looking for low cost ways to get into them, I did link a video that kind of talks about some ways to do some partnerships with venues for events. And also if you're a nonprofit, you know, the sponsorship piece for you is even easier because, you know, you can give people tax write-offs and things like that if they are providing some sort of, you know, in-kind service or actual monetary monetary donations to your event. So I think for nonprofits, it gives it like a little bit of an edge for folks who want to do a free event. Something that I've done for 2020 that I secured, which kind of I haven't been able to utilize to the full extent because of quarantine right now. But I partnered with an up and coming co-working space in Atlanta, and we developed a partnership to where I could basically host my events for free at this space, and the clientele or the people that are coming to my event are the type of clientele that they're looking for, small business owners, to get co-working memberships or to utilize some of their other services. So we were able to barter that way. So I don't know, Khadijah, if you have any tips just for folks who want to do free and low cost events. They don't have much money to get caterers or food, but they want to start kind of just having some brand experiences. What are some different ways that they can do that at little to no cost?
I would definitely say with that, it's a networking barter. Get your bartering skills up to par. When it comes to free events, what I will also say is be open to providing your services for free for a bigger cause. One thing that I am doing right now is I've partnered with a couple of event planners. It's about 10 of us. And we are currently looking for couples who weddings were affected due to the shelter in place coronavirus quarantine. And if their wedding was in this quarantine season where they had to literally postpone because you can't have more than 10 people, or their venue shut down, or, you know, they just couldn't have their wedding, we are looking for 3 couples that we can provide free day of coordinating services to for their wedding when they reschedule it.
Right.
So as an event planner, I'm not saying I'm gonna plan your wedding for free. I can't do that. I can't provide free wedding planning services, but I can do a free day. I can give free day of coordinating, or I can give free consultation like I am doing. You know, today we're giving away 2 free 30-minute.
Yes. And we have, so there is, some people are saying there's some freezing up on the live stream. So I don't want to manipulate too many things. There is some, let's see if I can try to fix that. Because it looks like, so we are streaming from Zoom to YouTube. So there may be some sort of issue with their, oh, look, okay, we're back. We're back. Our connection has restored. Oh no, it went back out again. I don't know, you guys. It's, it was going back. So I think it's going in and out. It may slow down for some folks, depending on where you are.
It's a little, I'm seeing it, it's a little choppy.
It's a little choppy, okay.
I was about to say the face I was making when it
froze. Oh no, I hate when that happens.
Some sort of issue.
You guys, sorry, it's replaying. Okay, so it's gonna go. I think the stream is just, I think the connection between Zoom and YouTube may be messing up a little bit, but I think we're just gonna keep going, you guys, and hopefully folks are able to still get a lot of value. It's better now. Cool. Thanks you so much for Gigi for letting us know what's kind of going on with the streaming. It actually does show kind of an alert to me that it's slowing down, but I don't really know how to fix it. I think it's just a connection between Zoom and YouTube. So let's take care of the last question, or two more questions. I think one you can answer very quickly. Days of the week less expensive for weddings. And times of the year.
Days of the week that's less expensive for weddings is Sunday and weekdays. And I actually had a consultation with a client last year who got married on a Monday, but it was Christmas Eve. So all her family was already in town for Christmas, or going to be in time for Christmas. It was cheaper to have the venue on a weekday, and she was able to get married on Christmas Eve. But some holidays create a surcharge, because I also had a friend who got married on New Year's Eve. Like she had her wedding like into midnight for their first, and they paid like double the original price because of it was New Year's Eve. It was a popular venue, and the time of day they were having a wedding, because the wedding didn't like start till like 9 o'clock.
Wow. So it was a night wedding on New Year's.
Yeah, wow. The reception was like the send-off was the countdown to a new year. It was
that so amazing, but that sounds very expensive.
It was so worth it. It was executed really well. It was like a black tie, like everybody had to dress up. It was really cute, but it was costly.
Okay, so one more question from Gigi. I just had to get Gigi's question because she was helping us out with the streaming. We appreciate you, Gigi. So she just wants to know really quickly, like, if you're doing an event outside, how does that kind of impact cost and days of the week, times of the year?
Outside, the major problem you have with outside is predicting the weather, especially in Georgia. It likes to be cold one day, hot the next,
exactly,
and rain. So the issue, I don't like outdoor weddings, outdoor events, period, because of weather. But if you can plan for weather, outside events can really be very lucrative, because like if you're doing something in a state or city park, most of the time if you are a resident, You just need like a permit for like if you're serving any food or beverages or alcohol, you may need security. But as far as like the actual space, it's free because it's public area.
That's something I didn't know. That's a great tip. So for those who may want to use any public spaces like parks and things like that, you just need some permits for food and possibly security. So that could be a great way to cut costs massively, but you are taking the risk, of course, of it being outside and the weather being terrible. So,
and I would say it depends on what you're doing because so I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. The first styled photo shoot I did when I was talking earlier about it being a dinner in the park scene, we used a park, forget the name of it, but it was out in Sandy Springs.
okay. And for those who are not in Georgia, that's a suburb outside of Atlanta.
Yeah, like a little outside of Atlanta, off 400, Highway 400. We got the space for free. We just had to, make sure we cleaned up everything that we brought. And what we did was we set up in the park and we used the people that was in the park that night as our models. Because people were coming over to see what we were doing. And we were like, yeah, would you like your picture taken? And they were getting the photographer's information so that they could get their pictures. So it turned out being an impromptu free photo shoot for the people that were in the park that day. And the scenery, the area that we were at, the scenery was super great as far as like it had a lake and the time of year.
Oh, that sounds so beautiful.
So that style shoot turned out being very nice, but it was very low cost. If you want to see the photos from that, go on Facebook to styled2 party, and there's a Facebook page, and all of the pictures from
and you can afterward, maybe we can put that link in the description.
Yeah, I'll give you the link to add to the description because the video, we had a videographer for those events as well as several photographers. So the video and the photos are amazing.
Yay. Okay. And so this will be our last question, guys, because we are 10 minutes to 4. So any just quick tips you have for budgeting? A lot of people had questions about kind of how you maintain your budgets. I don't know if you use Excel or kind of what you do for that. And just some tips for just keeping track of that.
Yes, I use Google Sheets. Okay. Planning anything before you buy it. So my biggest thing is I have a list of everything that I know I need to purchase for an event and 2 prices for it. I like to Amazon versus Walmart, Amazon versus IKEA, shop around before you purchase anything, see where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. That is how I keep up with, my spending habits on events and things. But also when it goes into budgeting, make sure even if you're getting started as a business owner, that you have a separate place for money than your own personal money. Don't mix event money or, clients' money with your personal money. Even if you can't get a bank account right now, there's other sources you can use, Cash App. Some people don't like Cash App, but you got Cash App, you got PayPal, you have Square, you have Venmo, you have Zelle. Even if you have to set up an online savings account that's not like a brick and mortar bank to put off to the side, don't mix funds, don't mix money. And be cautious. Anytime you're spending client money, think of it as your money. Don't do anything with anybody else's money that you wouldn't want somebody to do with your money. And if you can afford a CPA, you can borrow with a CPA. If you have a CPA, get a CPA on your team. If you know a CPA, leave in the comments. I'm looking for one.
Yay. Oh, I got somebody.
Okay, yes. See? Yeah. Can you share a receipt?
We actually have a former conversation with him if this is completely off topic, but if anybody, his name is Johan Mansili. He actually did a similar style live stream with me a couple of weeks ago, talking about the CARES Act and kind of all of how this affects small business owners. So that's also on my channel. She is Angel Mills, which you're on right now. Go ahead and check out that video, and also like and subscribe, you guys. We're going to be doing more conversations and things like this on this platform, and you'll be informed about it. So definitely like and subscribe. And so now it is giveaway time. Woohoo. So the first way we're gonna give away two 30-minute sessions with Khadijah and 2 30-minute sessions with me. I had to try to make it so it'll be 2 1-hour sessions essentially to 2 people. So Khadijah, for the first person, we talked about kind of you, if there was any questions you wanted to ask, if you were able to join us for the presentation, if you want to ask a question, and whoever is the first person in the chat to answer the question correctly gets the first coaching session.
Okay, so my question is, if you watched my presentation, if you were on here for my presentation, what is one of the most common mistakes to avoid when planning an event? What are one of those common mistakes that I listed in my presentation?
Okay, so what are one of the most common mistakes folks who are planning events make? First person to go in the comment. I know there's a little delay, so it might take a second for someone to hop in the comments. But first person to answer the question in the comments will win the first session. So that, remember, that is a 30-minute kind of event consultation with Khadijah. And then after that, you'll have a 30-minute consultation with me about how to promote your event. So folks are thanking us. Thanks, you guys. All right, we're still waiting for our first response.
Okay, we have Tavar.
Oh, you're seeing stuff faster.
Failure to have enough manpower.
Yes, that's correct, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Okay, Tova Thompson. So Tova, can you let me know in the comments if you registered on Eventbrite? If you did, I should have your email, but go ahead and just let me know in the comments that you did. And if not, go ahead and just, if you're okay with it, type your email in the comments. If not, I'll give you my email to email me, because we want to make sure we can follow up with you so you can schedule your consultation.
Yes.
Yay. So thank you guys so much. You're giving us such great compliments on the presentation today. So the next one, let's actually just do a question for the next one too. I think that would be easier. I was going to do a random drawing, but if you're able to do that on the fly, let's just pick another question. And we'll do it again. First person in the comments to answer correctly will get the second consultation. You guys, I'm excited. All right, go ahead, Khadijah.
Second question. What is one thing that you should consider when securing a venue for your event that I listed in the presentation? Mm-hmm. One thing that I mentioned you should take in consideration for securing your venue.
Mm-hmm. And it was on the slide too. You had it kind of listed out on the slide.
Yeah. There's 6 different things I had listed out on the slide.
Yes. Congrats, Tova. Okay, so we want to congratulate our second winner. So go ahead and comment right now. I think, Khadijah, the comments may be coming a little faster for you. So you can let me know if you see somebody comment.
I'm watching. I'm loving the comments. Thank you.
I know. You guys are
capacity. So we have Samuels.
Samuel, okay. Samuel's capacity. That's totally correct, right?
Yes, and I see a lot of comments with parking. Yes, y'all, parking is important.
And if you don't have good parking, use the Uber code. Try the Uber, depending on where you're on your event. Send everybody out, hey, there's limited parking. Here's an Uber code that you can use to get a discount on your ride. So that's something you can work into your budget as well, that Khadijah told me a little while ago. Okay, so our winners today have been Tova Thompson and I'm so sorry if I'm butchering your name, Samuels. I'm going to go with the last name. So again, if you both registered via Eventbrite, I should have your emails. I'm going to go back and look at registrations and reach back out to you. If you didn't and you feel comfortable with it, drop your email in the comments. And if not, you can email me at angel, ANGEL, at angelmillsbrandstrategy.com. And I will, we'll schedule everything for you. And I'll link you to Khadijah as well. I do have Khadijah's information in the description. You will get a replay for this event. I also have some other marketing tips. So it's some tips in there for how to use Eventbrite. There is a video link because I have another video on my channel where I go into immense detail of how to use the back end of Eventbrite. I also have a video talking about hosting free events. So some of you ask questions if you're just starting to build your brand or you're a nonprofit, you don't have big budgets to do an event. I talk about some ways to do some free events. Khadijah, before we get back to Khadijah, we will be doing live chats like this every week. Some of them will be classes where I'm kind of sharing marketing information. Some of them will be me doing live chats with other professionals who have various levels of expertise. So because you signed up for this event, you will get emails about future events. Khadijah, do you want to remind people of where they can find you? I think I put both of our Instagrams in the description too, if you want to follow us on Instagram. Khadijah, do you have anything else to plug?
I was going to say, if you have a business already, be sure to follow me on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn.
What's your LinkedIn page?
On LinkedIn at The Passion Palette Events and Marketing. Same on Facebook, my business page as well. My Instagram is at The Passion Palette. So I would love to connect with all of you. Send me your questions and DM me, comment. If you have any questions or comments, I love to, respond back and everything. And I thank you all for joining this webinar. And thank you, Angel, for curating this. I know we were supposed to do this in November. And I'm so glad.
And y'all were online. We were not expecting to be online with it, but it worked out really well.
Yeah. But the show must go on. All means necessary.
Yes, thank you all so much again for joining. Stay tuned to your emails later on today, and you will get a replay. You'll probably be hearing from Khadijah as well via email. So she'll share some additional information with you. And again, thank you so much for joining. I hope you got a lot of value out of this. And I hope to see you soon in our next conversation. You all have a good rest of your day, night, depending on where you are.
Yes.